To answer all these questions and doubts about the future of the beer and pub industry, we've reached out to the Chief Executive of the British Beer and Pub Association, Emma McClarkin. She leads the organisation as it champions the issues that matter to this industry. Welcome, Emma.
Thank you, Gabriele.
My pleasure to have you here, and it's very, very simple. The best question to crack on with it should be exactly. Can you give me like an introduction for the British Beer and Pub Association, please?
Well, the British Beer and Pub Association represents over 90% of the brewers in the UK and over 20,000 pubs, so nearly half the pubs as well. So it is a very busy job, particularly during the pandemic right now, but one that I really love. I'm a huge beer and pub lover. And so being able to defend such a British institution right now is a real privilege and honour.
Fantastic. And the first question, especially if we will have a bit more like an international audience, hopefully with this documentary, would be, why are you using the word protect? What do these industries should be protected from?
Well, the British beer and pub sector employs just under 1 million people in the UK, and we contribute hugely, £23 billion to the economy. So we're a huge economic player, but as the world knows, we have a huge beer reputation, and our pub is part of our culture. And the top 5 things people want to do when they come to the UK is to visit a British pub and have a British pint of beer. And we want to protect that. We want to make sure that those pubs are still there, offering that warm, welcoming experience and that fantastic beer. And so that is my job in the pandemic and all the time, to ensure that we have a thriving brewing and pub sector.
What happened actually in the early 2020, as we know, you mentioned the pandemic, you mentioned COVID-19. What is the situation right now, basically?
Well, I took up this role as the Chief Executive of the British Beer and Pub Association in November 2019. Back then, Brexit was the biggest thing on the horizon, but then come March, and we see the pandemic, and it's had an absolutely devastating effect on the beer and the pub sector. And so the switching up of priorities absolutely has taken place, although we don't take our eye off the ball. But yeah, it's meant that we've been in full crisis management as an industry since the doors were closed on the 20th of March. And we have been in crisis management and lobbying hard at government to make sure that as an industry, our voice is not lost during this period.
I like that. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. I'm so glad there is someone like you that can really, understand this, because this is crucial. I'm a camera member, I'm working for a craft brewery, and I'm going to mainstream bars. I don't mind.
And that's fine. And you shouldn't be beaten up or pigeonholed. And I really believe when people say to me, oh, I don't like beer, I don't drink it. I said, when's the last time you did? Go out there and taste the fantastic beers that we have. And maybe try some of the ones that you thought were too old man. They might surprise you too, in that actually they're lovely and fresh and completely unique in their own right. So don't pigeonhole yourself as a beer drinker. Don't pigeonhole yourself as a non-beer drinker, and look afresh. And particularly when you're going to some of our new breweries and their tap rooms, where you can really taste those different offers that are out there and find out what suits your palate. And that is a whole industry that sits behind that, and one that we need to nurture in the UK and be very, very proud of.
If we will sit again in 2 months' time and having this type of conversation again, do you think there are different scenarios out there that we can, think of? Maybe a very positive one, maybe a very negative one? Or we should go just for a very realistic and in-the-face one? And if yes, which one of the two, and how would you look like this scenario in your opinion?
I'd be very, very honest with you. If we're having a good day, we'll see that we will lose 5% in terms of our demand, and maybe 5% of our pubs in the UK. In the medium to long term, that could move to 15%. And worst case scenario could be 20% lost, or even more perhaps in the UK. We have to be realistic. This is a crisis that the industry has never seen. It's going to take a long time for us to rebuild back up to anywhere near normal trading levels. Remember, whilst we have safety measures, we're already operating at reduced capacity, which even slows down again our ability to rebuild. So it's going to be a long journey, and reopening is the first step in that long journey. But we will be here as the British Beer and Pub Association to support the sector, make sure that as many of those jobs can be held in place, as many of those pubs can stay open, and that we can keep great British businesses surviving.
The fact is, this industry has to change. But for how long? In these unsure times, it is good to see pubs fighting to remain open. In these next episodes, we will be covering other areas of London, with an insight to your local drinking culture. Here are some encouraging words from Emma McClarkin.
Well, what I really hope from this crisis that people take away is just how important their local is. They may have visited it once a week, they may have only visited it once in a blue moon, but when they can't go there, they recognise not only the economic value as to their communities, but the social value, that it is that place where they can meet, they can connect with their community, that there is so much more than just the economics and the money. There is that value that is given to their society from having that place in the local pub. So I deeply urge everybody to go out and support your locals. Yes, life is going to be different. It is in every aspect. But what better place to find out what the new norm and our new life is going to be like than at your local pub?
Thank you for watching Turning the Tide, a What's in the Glass production. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, email us at whatsintheglassuk@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. See you down the pub!